All right, everyone, the Hillary Clinton pity me party continues. It'll probably continue for some days or weeks to come. Hydrogen Hillary is now complaining about other groups of people as well. For instance, Matt Lauer, for asking her about her emails. Oh, that was underhanded. Why did you have to bring that up? That's a sore issue for me. Yes, the media that you largely have bought and sold should not ask you substantial questions. They should just sit there, put a camera on you, and let you rant for 30 minutes about whatever the hell that you happen to want, Miss Clinton. That's the way politics work. She's attacking now the media at large. Oh, I didn't get a fair shake. They were so negative towards me. They kept asking me about things that happened in the past, like landing in Bosnia under sniper fire, and Benghazi, and the fact that I improperly stored and used government property, and everything else I've ever done in my life, because basically I'm a scumwad. That's what it boils down to. Hillary Clinton feels mistreated by everybody, and if you read through these little snippets that people are digging out of her books for these reports, once again, as always, she blames everybody except for the person most responsible for her loss, which is herself. She also apparently is making the claim, oh, Obama told me that I had it in the bag, like the night before the election. He's like, don't worry, you've won, basically. But that Bubba Bill, who now looks like a zombie, he had the foresight to say, oh, well, Hillary, you might lose. Which, of course, is what happened. My God, does she ever shut up about the fact that she lost? Is there ever going to come a time that she realizes that other people... I mean, I don't understand her strategy here. She's not going to run again, so I guess she is just like, fuck it. But she's even blaming people who supported her. She also comes out and says, this is by far, so far at least, the most weird off-the-wall thing she's said in regards to the issue of losing the election. She comes out and blames her own supporters, because after the election, of course, Trump wins. A lot of them go out and protest, and they're like, oh, a racist has been elected, a sexist has been elected, it's the end of the world, which clearly it's not. And, you know, they're saying we're going to move to Canada. Like, I knew people personally who said, well, maybe it's time to move to another country, and they didn't. And I told them when the election first happened. And I was grinning ear to ear because none of them believed Trump could win. And I had told them that Trump would win, and they didn't believe me. And this is in my real life. This isn't just online. And they said, well, I'll move somewhere else. I'm like, yeah, in a week you won't be saying that. You'll have forgotten all about this. You won't care because you'll realize things are ultimately okay. Okay, your candidate lost. It'll take you a few days, but you'll get over it. Hillary Clinton, though, she's showing a level of immaturity far above anybody else that I've ever encountered in my life. I've never seen somebody as immature as Hillary Clinton. Aren't you glad she didn't get elected? Hydrogen Hillary said, yeah, if I'm elected, we're going to go tough on Iran. If I'm elected, there might be a military response for cyber intrusions by the Russians, like that wouldn't start World War III. If I'm elected, we're going to do this. If I'm elected, we're going to do that. And it all boiled down to warmongering and I happen to be female. But she comes out, lambastes her own fans, because this is the group that she's talking about, are people who didn't like Trump, most of which voted for Hillary Clinton or stayed home. And if they were protesting thereafter, they weren't one of the people who stayed home, trust me. They weren't. Because then that would make them apathetic. They wouldn't have a reason to protest. They'd just be like, whatever. The election's over, thank goodness. A little bit of peace of mind. We don't have to hear about this political nonsense for a while. Hillary Clinton attacks her own fans and says, where was this outrage when I was running? Why didn't these people show up? They did show up, Miss Clinton. They voted for you. Unfortunately, other than in California, a minority of the population voted for you in a majority of the states, giving the election to Donald Trump. You see, we have an electoral college. We're not a direct democracy. Thank goodness. Because otherwise a handful of zealots in some echo chamber state could easily run roughshod over everybody else in the United States. By the way, not just from the left, they could do this from the right. A bunch of really rock-ribbed Republican Texans and people in like Wyoming and other states, they could control the country too. The very point is to have some degree of representation at all times for all people in the country. We are a republic. That's how we were founded. It was the way we were meant to be, so that zealot ideologues like you wouldn't win elections as often. And it seems to work. It worked in 2016. Then Clinton comes out, and this is mind-blowing. She's already attacked Sanders several times. And Sanders gave an interview, and he's basically like, oh, I understand. Hillary Clinton lost to the most unpopular presidential candidate in history, but it's time to get over it and progress and move forward. By the way, that is a slap at Hillary Clinton. Just look at what he's saying. Oh, she managed to lose to the most unpopular candidate in history. What do you think he's intoning? He's striking back at her. Kudos to him, by the way, for doing that. You should defend yourself. You didn't during the election. Another reason that you lost during the primaries. Regardless of the DNC shafting you, you just refused to attack her on anything. She comes out and says, Bernie Sanders caused me to lose by promising everybody a pony. Bernie Sanders didn't cause you to lose. Your own actions did. You pissed off all of his supporters. Sanders endorsed you right away. He drops out. He almost immediately endorses Hillary Clinton, says, yes, ultimately we have our disagreements, but it's better than Donald Trump. Donald Trump would be a disaster for this country. He came out, endorsed her, said to his fans, vote for fucking Hillary Clinton. Most of them would have done that if Hillary Clinton had actually had a platform. And he didn't promise everybody a pony, he was promising everybody single payer, which parts of the Democratic Party are still in veins trying to get. You're not going to get it. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. What are you supposed to do? Most of the states are run by Republicans. It's going to be difficult to make a legal argument in favor of basically trampling on the wallets of all Americans. You wouldn't win any elections anytime soon when it becomes clear how much it'll cost. Oh, that's right, you'll throw subsidies at it. You'll redirect funds from something else to make it look solvent. They did this with Obamacare. Oh, we'll just prop it up with all this funny money that we're printing out. You know, we're pumping it out and we'll throw a bunch of it into the healthcare system to slow down the rising costs, to make it look like nothing's changed. Well, of course, when you stop doing that, then you see the real cost of it, which will grow and grow and grow. That's what will happen. Single payer would be a disaster for this country. We're already taxed enough. Unless you want to slash the taxes and get rid of a bunch of the bureaus to pay for it. If you want to shift the cost, yeah, okay, get your single payer, that's fine. No, I'm serious about that. If you want single payer, go ahead, but pay for it by cutting a bunch of other bullshit that we don't need. And I don't mean just the big bad military that the Democrats always worry about so much. Oh, that's right, they become the war-hawking party. They want to pay more into that too. More no-bid contracts for everybody. Green energy for the Abrams tank, or something like that. Hearing Hillary Clinton whine about how everybody else under the sun is responsible for her loss is really funny to me. Now, technically speaking, they are because of their voting patterns. Of course, they simply did not choose to elect her. The majority of people in the majority of states voted for Trump. A bunch of Californians tipped the popular vote in Hillary Clinton's favor. Thank goodness we don't allow California with a bunch of rabble-rousing far leftists control this country. Any more we do, a bunch of maybe evangelicals in the Deep South, or a bunch of Mormons, or a bunch of far-right wingers or something. No, there's actually representation for all people within the country, at least to a degree. That's the way it was meant to work. It keeps things more stable. Having Hillary Clinton in office would have been a disaster. And I've seen people over the last few weeks. They said, well, if Hillary Clinton had been elected, we wouldn't be seeing the alt-right, we wouldn't be seeing the rise of Antifa violence, we wouldn't be seeing any of this stuff, everything would be okay. No, it'd be worse. Because the social alienation driving such groups would be so much greater, they'd be 10 times as large. And the natural reaction, the growth of the far left that the DNC is incapable now of even controlling, because it's spiraling out of control, would be 10 times as large also. The level of violence would be far more substantial. The economy would not be picking up because consumer confidence would have dropped. Trust me. People were predicting, oh, if Trump is elected, our stock market will immediately crash. Job creation will immediately stall. The economy will go into backpedaling mode and everything will begin to fall apart. Did it? No, it actually didn't. It did the opposite of that. Things are going just fine. You'd better be thankful that Trump won, including people who voted for Hillary. You made a mistake. You were backing somebody who would have been toxic to this country. Look at the way she has reacted to not getting her way in the election. Look at the way she's whining about how everyone else, including her own supporters, are responsible. Her own supporters now, in her estimation, are responsible for not raising enough of a stink and being more aggressive with their tactics. Is that the kind of temperament that we need to lead this country? Trump, meanwhile, he just sits there and chuckles. I think he likes it when Hillary Clinton does this. Certainly draws fire away from him. Even the legacy media now is saying, okay, Hillary, we get it. You're sad about losing the election. We're kind of sad too. But don't you think you've gone a little bit too far here? You're attacking Sanders, who got fucked by the DNC, by the way. You're attacking Joe Biden. You're attacking Obama. You're attacking Matt Lauer and the whole media apparatus. People are worried. People keep saying from the left, oh, Trump attacks the media all the time. Isn't that what Hillary Clinton is doing? So why would that have been any better? She seems to be doing that. Oh, they weren't fair to me. They didn't give me enough positive coverage. They gave you enough. Every coverage they gave you was positive. They ask you one fucking question about your emails. You think that they're your mortal enemy forever. Even Trump's restoring the ability to talk to like the New York Slimes and all of these groups. Hell, he's being more restrained than I would. I wouldn't give him the time of day. I would have kicked him out right away and never talked to them. I would have blocked these groups from my Twitter handle too, so that other groups that were more fair could scoop them. And so you should, by the way, consider doing that. Just rob the ability for the New York Times and all their various handles and staff and stuff to even read your tweets, so that it slows them down in their response so other groups can get out ahead of them. It's an interesting strategy you might consider, by the way, Mr. Trump. Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, is too busy whining. Oh, we lost the election. It's everyone's fault. Except for yours. You know, just ignore that part where I ignored Wisconsin, because I figured it was in the bag. Just ignore the part where I went to Michigan, twice during the whole fucking campaign? Trump goes there dozens of times, holds rally after rally after rally all over the Rust Belt. Oh, just ignore that part where I skipped a bunch of rallies I was supposed to hold. I think North Carolina. If she had attended that one rally, do you think that it would have flipped the state? I think it probably would have. That would have flipped North Carolina. She could have won the election, but she wasn't putting in enough effort. That wasn't reflected, by the way, in the polls. It was about differential levels, degrees in the competitive states, and this is Trump's strategy. This is why he went to them so often. This is why I said that he'd probably win. There was a huge difference between how fervent his supporters were and how fervent Hillary's were. Hillary's supporters were like, was excited as if they were going to a wake or something like that. And that's the problem that she had during the election. Her supporters weren't whipped up into a frenzy. She pretended so by having the 10 people in any township that actually were like really rock solid. Hillary needs to win. We must break the glass ceiling at all costs. And almost all of these people were far left female voters. But females abandoned Hillary Clinton. White females voted for Trump, including the college-educated. I think she feels personally slighted by this. She acts as though, because she's a 90s-era Democrat. The 90s-era Democrats were, we use wedge issues, we promise the moon on a stick to minority voting blocks in order to get their votes. Then we abandon them after we get elected. That's their strategy. Well, you can't do that anymore. It's not going to work in the social media era. I can foresee a time not too far in the future, you see if this is true, where a hell of a lot of people from traditionally far blue voting blocks begin voting for Republicans. I can see that time coming. You may not see it, including a lot of people on the far right. They're like, oh, deport everyone, minorities always vote Democrat. No. Demographic shift. Used to be that the Republican Party was the party literally formed to oppose slavery. As a neo-federalist movement in some ways as well, and had about 99% of the black voting bloc in the country for a very long time, till the era of the Southern strategy. And it worked, by the way, at the time. And they won many elections because of this. They're sort of the Union Party in that Reconstruction period. But things shifted. So it's not exactly a case of the Republican Party is incapable of competing for these different groups of people. It's not. Donald Trump heaps abuse on illegal immigrants all day. The media predicts he's going to get 0% of the Hispanic voting share. He actually does better than Romney. Why do you think that is? People want jobs. People don't mind economic nationalism. They really don't have a problem with it. I think most people, including parts of the left, support it. Look at what happened with the business Democrats. Trump is taking the Republican Party in a better direction. He's capable of doing that. He's facing constant opposition. The reason why they're opposing him is they're fucking terrified. They're terrified he's going to be successful, and that the Democrats are going to have to fundamentally reorganize every platform they've been using for the last 30 years. It would take a lot of effort. They'd have to kick a bunch of old detritus out of the party, including people who get a lot of corporate cash. That's what it's about. It's about money. Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, she's no use to the Democratic Party at all. She's holding them back more. In her self-serving tirades of, pity me, I should have been the winner, oh, blah, 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 everyone's at fault but me, she's actually turning people off more to the Democratic Party. She has managed consistently, it's still the case, to be less popular than Trump. So while everyone talks about how Trump is unpopular, he's horrific, he's hovering around the 40s, she's hovering around 30 or something like that. A lot of her supporters immediately got alienated by her when she decided to attack them. That's going to weigh heavily on the Democratic Party during the midterms. She's going to be seen as the de facto standard bearer of the whining, we lost and we can't get over it Democratic movement. And that's a segment of the party. It's going to become a problem for them if they don't muzzle her. Throw her some money. She loves that. Offer her $10 million just to shut the hell up. And then maybe that will work. She'll take her book off the shelves and stop attacking every other Democrat under the sun as being more responsible than her for her shitty campaign. Which is what it boils down to. She didn't visit the right states enough. She spent all of her time gargling money. And that was her problem. And she's not charismatic either. She's not Bubba circa the 1990s. The Democrats apparently think she is. Like, they have this weird, like golden girl image of her. That she's just perfect in every possible way. Meanwhile, she's stabbing you all in the back. Doesn't that make you a little bit upset, Clinton voters? Maybe just an eensy bit? I know some of you voted for Jill Stein. Most of you stuck it out and voted for Hydrogen Hillary, including a lot of people that supported Sanders. Only 12% of them jumped ship to Trump. A lot of them jumped ship to third parties. The majority still voted for Hillary Clinton. But you're still talking about millions of people that refused. Because you alienated them. That was your problem. You would have won the election if you hadn't done that. If you had been more likable. Now, I know that she wants to label it sexist if you talk about her likability. Oh, fuck you. People did that with Al Gore versus Bush. They were both male. People did that with McCain versus Obama. Romney versus Obama. People, you say, oh, well, Bush won because he was more likable than Gore. Gore's like a sourpuss. Yeah, kinda. Bush versus Kerry. Kerry's boring. Bush is, you know, a little bit more of the party boy image, so you know, he wins. Yeah, kind of. That was definitely part of the election. John McCain, very dour, very professionalistic. Obama wears the leisure suit instead of, you know, going full tux all the time. Speaks in soaring words. Seems like, you know, the kind of person as opposed to McCain that a younger voter would want to hang out with. Yeah, would be more college campus friendly. Yeah, it was a big part of it. Nobody ever called it a problem when people were making those comparisons. Only with Hillary Clinton, because she just can't stand to be criticized. Well, screw off. Who cares? You're a politician. Doesn't matter if you happen to have ovaries. You know, a politician has a scrotum. He can be criticized for his beliefs. You've got weird beliefs and your campaign sucked. That's what it boils down to. You need to own up to that and take full ownership of it. Yeah, I lost. Oh, yeah. It could be worse. You know, I could be Vince Foster or something like that. I could be someone that worked closely with me and accidentally threw themselves off a cliff. Could be way worse. Could be worse. I could be poor instead of making 7 figures a year from Goldman Sachs speeches. You're still rich. Go be rich. At least you've got that. Go get your Secretary of State, First Lady, okay. You've already accomplished a bunch of shit. Who cares? You know, do you really want to be remembered for the next 20 years as the candidate who couldn't get over losing? Instead of being remembered as someone who a lot of people would have preferred to be elected and had a bunch of, you know, political positions and is very wealthy and did charitable work or something. You should stop screwing Haiti over, too. That would help. The millennial left may give you a pass. I don't think Generation Z will be so gentle on you. I think that might be a problem too for your legacy. What legacy? You're pissing it away. You're alienating people who supported you. You're supposed to attack people that didn't vote for you as dumb or something else Clintonian. Not supposed to attack your own voters. They tried their best and they failed. They failed because a lot of them weren't excited. Oh, I don't know, I kind of have a head cold. I don't know if I'll bother to go vote, you know. Meanwhile, Trump voters are like, I will drag myself through a landmine field and then scale up an embankment of 20 stories, jump into an alligator pen, wrestle a bear just to pull the lever. That's a lot of what it boiled down to. He got people excited. You may think that's a bad thing, that makes him a bigot. Oh, he's got people excited by appealing to fascism or something. Well, no, not really, but you can say that. Some people take that seriously, too. But nobody will take it seriously when you're sitting there, oh, why weren't my fans more excited? Well, maybe it's because you never went to rallies to talk to them. When you did, 10 people showed up. They had to focus that camera in on you real tight to make it look like you had a packed room. I don't think Hillary Clinton ever had a rally with more than 10,000 people at it. Trump was pulling in 20, 30,000, so was Sanders on a very regular basis. They had to turn people away. People had to watch from screens mounted outside at their rallies. Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, Chelsea Clinton gave a press conference from a broom closet at one point. That's not even a joke. It's not an exaggeration. She actually physically did. Google it. You know, don't Google it. Bing it or something. Yandex it or something. So that's why you lost. Not because the pig hats didn't show up to vote for me. No, they voted for you. There just weren't enough of them. Because most people aren't taken in by your weird democratic wedge issues anymore. They don't think that Trump's a racist. They may not approve of him. They may not like him a lot, but better than you. I'm very happy for this country that we avoided voting for Hillary Clinton. That's about all. Peace out.